So while we're waiting for that to open, I'm going to start by showing you guys a little bit about using themes, and then I'm going to show you how to create a PowerPoint presentation from scratch. So you guys are welcome to follow along if you want to open PowerPoint or just take notes or whatever you need. If you have any questions as we're going, just throw them in the chat box and I'll make sure to address them after certain sections, or we'll get to all of them at the very end. So this is the type of screen that you should see when you open PowerPoint. It may look a little bit different if you have an older version or if you're on a PC, but when you open it and you click on Home, you're going to see an option to create a presentation from preloaded themes or from a blank presentation. So here I'm going to show you kind of, if you click on More Themes, it will give you all of these kind of standard preloaded themes, and yours again may look a little bit different. And a great functionality that PowerPoint has added is that if you have a specific type of theme that you're looking for, you can say you're looking for something that's business themed. You can type in business up here and it will search the internet for business related themes. So all of these kind of have some stock photos and some coloring that is a little bit more business oriented. I think with this group, we'll probably have some creative ones. So we could type in creative and it'll give you some creative looking themes, maybe just colorful, and it'll give you all types of designs. There are really a very broad range of themes. And even if you can't find any in here, you can search them online and download them. There are a lot of free options out there. So you can make it kind of however you want. So just to show you guys a little bit about how a PowerPoint looks when you're using a preloaded theme, I'm just going to click into one of them here. And we'll go with this one. There we go. And it'll start by adding in the original slide that you clicked on. And then when you click down here, there's all different types of slide layouts that fit exactly into that theme as well. So those are always great options if you're trying to create things in a pinch or if you just like one of the preloaded themes. But today I want to show you how to create something from scratch, just because I like the customizable factor of that. So I'm going to start back from the home screen. Okay. I just had a question about options. So to get the different types of themes, you click up here in this search bar, and that's where you can customize your options. So again, something like business or along those lines. And then to get back to that original page, we'll just exit that out and it'll take me back here. And then also if you click into home and it's not showing you anything, you can click on more themes and that will expand it for you. Okay, for the various layouts within a theme, we're going to cover that. So we will get into this. All right, so we're going to start by clicking on blank presentation. And it will pre-populate with an automatic title slide. And it also, the newer versions of PowerPoint might give you these design ideas on the side. We'll cover that in a few minutes, but for right now, I'm going to go ahead and just close this out so you can see my entire screen. So to start with here, this gives you the ability to customize basically whatever you want. So by clicking into a text box, you can click in, we'll just put in title slide for these purposes, and then maybe August 25th, 2020. So you can see how easy that is to just click in and type. But then say for this example, I'm going to show you guys a portfolio of mine. I'm going to build that out just to give you an idea of how to do that. So for this, I want to start completely from scratch. I don't want anything on the slide. So I can just click on this text box, and then I can either click delete on my keyboard, or I can right click and I can delete it that way as well. We'll just use the delete key because that's much easier. Just going to delete that as well. And then for this one, I want to put in an image as my background. So for me, I pre-populated all of this. I made a separate image so that I could just be quick with this, but I will show you guys how to do it by hand as well. So in order to insert an image, you just click on insert. And then here I want to add in a picture. So I'll drop down with the picture. It's already on my computer. So I'm going to do picture from file, but I could also look for online pictures that would be stock photos. So here I'm going to go with picture from file. And then I have this folder ready. And then this is going to be my opening slide. So I already knew that I wanted to keep this little section open so that I could put my title and my subtitle in there. So in order to do that, we're going to go back to the insert option, which is the insert and home section are where you'll spend most of your time when you're designing something in PowerPoint, because they have most of our functionalities. And before I do that, I'll just go through these really quickly and show you some of the features. So home is where you can go ahead and add in your new slide, which that'll be included on some of the other tabs as well. But here it's a really convenient way to do it. All you have to do is drop down, and then you have all these options here. Or you can go up to your top bar and you can put in a new slide that way too. So then your insert section allows you to put in pictures, shapes, icons, tables, text boxes, word art. You can add in comments if you're going through and reviewing someone else's PowerPoint, or you just want to leave yourself notes. The draw section, I'm not very good at drawing, so I don't spend much time in here, but you can click any of these and kind of draw on your PowerPoint with something looking better than that. And then to get rid of it, you just click erase and just click on it and it'll go away. The design section will allow you to customize your PowerPoint even further. So if I decided that maybe I actually don't want a blank presentation as I'm working through because I just can't get it to look right, I can choose some themes from up here so that I could just apply if I deleted this. And then you can see that it added a little theme. Could pick this one. Lots of options again. You can drop down and even more options will show up. You can do the same thing that we did from the home screen where you can browse. And then you can also customize your color palette. So this will give you kind of a basic general color palette that you can use all throughout your PowerPoint. And again, you can click on any of these or any of these. If I want it to be blue, when I go back to home, it will show me all of these. See, it's preloaded right here with my themes. And that's a really great way to kind of add your own flair. And another important aspect of this section as well is it allows you to adjust your slide size. So right now, my slides are a 16:9 ratio, but the 4:3 ratio is more of standard PowerPoint. So we'll scale it. And then you can see it makes that smaller format. I personally like 16:9 because it gives you a little bit more real estate to work with and it doesn't look as crowded. And now PowerPoint has come a really long way, and you can typically, I mean, it goes across all computers, so you can use that and not have to worry about compatibility. Your transitions tab is exactly what it sounds like. It just allows you to add transitions to your slides so that you can, you know, make it fun how it goes from one slide to the next. There's lots of different varieties here, and we'll go more into depth with that as we continue as well. And then animations is pretty similar. This applies to text boxes. So just want to type in here. And then I want it to fly in. And when it flies in, I also want it to grow. This is your slideshow section, which gives you all of your options for when you're going to present your slide. This review section, again, if you want to add comments or anything. We'll go into this tab in depth in a few minutes as well. And then another great little feature here is they've added this tell me section. And if you click on that and you're like, I don't remember how to add in a shape, you can just type in add in shape, and the shapes option will come up right here. And it's very convenient if you forget how to do something or you just want to do it quickly. So now I'm just gonna close that out so we can start from scratch again. All right, we're gonna go back into our blank presentation. I'm gonna close these for the moment. And like I said, I want this to be a totally blank slide. So I can either leave this slide like it is and delete these, which is easy to do, so it doesn't take very long, or I can go here to new slide, drop down and add in a blank slide, and then I can just delete that one. So we're gonna go back and insert an image again, which is pictures, picture from file, because it's on my computer already. And then I'm gonna add in the image that I wanna use. So now that I have that and think it's a good introduction to my portfolio, I can either go here with this little scale and A to draw a text box, or I can go to insert, which I personally prefer because it's much bigger. It says what it is right here and it's easy to access. So I'm gonna use this one. And then you simply come down here and scale it as far as you want it to scale. So for my title, I'll go about this big. And I'm gonna call it Creative Portfolio. So now that I have my text box in here, I want it to be centered. So all of this functions almost exactly like Microsoft Word. So this is a panel that I think most of you will be pretty familiar with. And so for this, I want it to be centered. So I'm just gonna go ahead and center it by clicking this center align button. And then I think I want it to be a little bit bigger. So I'll go up here to the text size and I'll change it to, let's say 28. And a note about that as well is to get it to change size, you can either just simply click on the outline of the box or you can highlight it. So I also don't really like this font. So I'm gonna go up here to my typefaces and I wanna change it to Century Gothic and I want it to be regular size. So then I want a subtitle here as well. So I'm going to click on the outside of the box. I'm gonna right click on copy, and then click on paste. And I have another text box already preloaded with the font that I want to use. So another great thing that PowerPoint has developed is it kind of functions like a design program. So it has all of these alignment lines that show you if something is centered and helps kind of keep you in check with that, which I find really helpful because I think most people like for their text to be aligned. So for this will be my subtitle. I'm going to just highlight it and then retype in what I want to add here. And then again, I think that's a little bit too big now to be subtext. So I just click on the outside of the box, go up here and we'll go down to 18, so it's all in one line. So another thing that you can do is you can grab multiple items at once, because I want both of these boxes to be a little bit lower in this section. So I'm going to click on one, hold down the shift key, and click on the other one. So you can see now that they're both selected. And I can either press the down arrow key to adjust it, or I can just click it and drag it. So let's say I want it to be there. And then personally, I like using gray for copy in my PowerPoints as opposed to black. So I'm going to show you guys how to customize the color in your text boxes. So say that I have all these preloaded theme colors, but none of these grays are right for me and I don't like them. So I could either click here and then it would apply that gray. And then I could do the same thing where I shift. And then once you've selected a color, it will be sitting on the forefront of your font box. So you can just click that and it'll change both of them at the same time. So I'm going to keep those selected because I want to make these the same color, but customize them. So I'm going to go up here, click the down arrow, and then click on more colors. So this is definitely not something that you have to do if you're not interested in customizing your color, but I find it really helpful to make my design match as closely as I want it to. So when you click on more colors, it's going to give you a few options. Up here is just a color wheel, and you could just select on it however you want. Say you wanted this color, you can make it lighter, you can make it darker. We'll go with that orange for right now. And then click OK, and it will apply it. Or you can go back to more colors. And I personally like to use this one because that's where you can put in a hex code, which is basically just a color code that we use in designs. So for this one, I already know the hex code of my design. You can easily Google hex codes if you're like, I want my font to be bright purple. And you can just type in bright purple hex code and it will come right up. So for this one, I know my hex code already. I'll just click OK, and then it'll apply it. Another great option in the more color section is on every single tab, you'll see this little eyedropper tool, and you can select a color from something that you already have on your screen. So say I wanted to use that little yellow color, click OK, it'll apply that as well. And then you can also kind of quick select from here. You have another color spectrum, and then these little colored pencils to choose a color as well. Another feature with your colors is once you use a color, it will show right up in your recent colors. And that's really helpful for me because I usually only use about 4 colors in any given PowerPoint, and it makes it really easy to click them fast. So I'll go back to that gray. Yes, I can go back to that. So you start with your colors here. You click the drop down, click on more colors, and then on every section, you'll notice this eyedropper at the bottom. You just click on that and it'll pull up this kind of magnifying button. And this time, maybe I want this blue. Just click on that, click OK, and it will apply it. Yes, you can also change the background color of your text box. And I'll show you guys a little bit more how to do that as well. So I also noticed a question here about how to make up a collage with single images. So I will show you guys how to do that really quickly. And that's pretty easy as well. Instead of having this collage already in here, I would simply go back to Insert, go back to Pictures again, Picture from File, and then I'll use this photo. It'll pop right in, and then I'm going to scale it way down. And in PowerPoint, everything scales proportionally, so you don't have to click any other buttons. You just have to click on your bounding box and drag it down, or up if you want it to be really big. So we'll take this, we'll put this in the corner here. And PowerPoint will also tell you when you've reached the edge of your slide, because as you can see here, it's creating these little lines. So it's saying, okay, those are your perimeters. And then if I want to add in another picture, just repeat the same action again. We'll put in this one. And then the same thing, just scale it down. And that's how you would create your own collage. And I'm going to show you, yes, I'm going to show you how to make them into specific shapes as well. So we'll get to that in our next slide. Okay, so I'm going to just go ahead, add all that back in for the sake of consistency. And then as you can see, if you already have text on your slide and then you insert an image, and as you can see, I can't see my text now because the image is covering it. You simply click on your image, right click it, and then there are these options to bring the image to the front or send the image to the back. You can either send it all the way to the back, or you can just send it backward, which will send it behind one text box. So we'll do that first. So you can see only this came up, but then for this purpose, I want it all the way in the back. So I'm gonna send it back. Okay, and then we'll go back and we'll change these to gray again. So now I'm ready to go to my next slide. Again, I can use this insert button in the top bar, or I can go right here. I can simply click new slide and it'll give me a blank slide because that's the last type of slide I put in. Or I can choose a different layout by going up here. And for this one, I think I want it to be to content. And I'm going to customize this one as well. So I want this to be for my business cards. I don't need this text box, so just click on the bounding box and delete it. And then I'm going to go ahead and insert an image again. And if you don't want to go through all of these steps to click down, insert, you can also just drag things right in. So as you can see, I just open up this folder, go to business cards, and then I'm just dragging it right in. And there it is. And I dragged it onto my text box, so my text box went away. But I'll drag it over here. It just wants to keep getting rid of that, but that's okay because we can add in a text box again. We'll just go back to insert, text box, click and drag. So for this one, I'm just gonna say, I've made business cards for many businesses. So the question about how to make photos cut out into an image or have a boundary that's a circle or a square or something like that. There are a couple of different ways to do that. So one of the ways to do it is by clicking on the photo. And once you click on the photo, you'll have an option to picture format. So this is gonna let you customize the image basically however you want. So I'm gonna click on picture format and then crop. I'm gonna click down on crop and then I'm gonna go to crop to shape. So maybe I want it to be a circle, or say that I don't like that, I'm gonna undo it. And you can also crop to the aspect ratio, which in this case, I want it to be a perfect square. So that is a 1-to-1 ratio because all the sides are exactly the same. So I'll click on that and then it'll crop. You can just click out of it and it will crop into the square shape. But there's a ton of variety with your cropping. So you can do really whatever you want with it. You could make it a smiley face if you want, or this lightning bolt, which you can't really see it. So that isn't a great example, but you can do whatever you want here. And then if you double click on the picture, it'll also pop up this side window. I think you guys are covering that there. And this is where you can get really creative with your image or your shape. So say for example that I like this smiley face and I want to add a colored outline. I can just click on solid line and it'll give me all these options. I can make it orange and I can make it wider so that it's thicker. I could add a bunch of crazy features to it. I can make it glow. Minimize that. I could scale this glow up. This is definitely a really bad example of something that you would want to do because this obviously does not look great, but I'm just trying to show you guys the variety of what you can do. You can change the size of it. You can scale it. And you can make it more transparent just by sliding this here. Is this all making sense so far, guys? Am I going too fast? Okay, good. So I'm gonna delete this just because it's kind of creepy. And I'm gonna go back to insert and I'm gonna put that picture back in so I can show you guys another way to crop it. We'll use something else. We'll use this one. So here you can also do this in picture format. And this is really kind of advanced here. I don't think that you'll have a lot of need for this in depth with the brightness and the contrast of the photo and everything like that. But you could edit it if you like a certain look or effect. You can make it more saturated, which I also wouldn't advise. That doesn't look great either. Again, with cropping it, all really straightforward. Okay, I'll slow down a little bit. Okay. So next, I'll address all these other questions more in depth, but I want to make sure we get through everything. So I'm going to go ahead and delete that for now. And on this same slide, I'll show you guys how to add in shapes and icons, which are really similar to adding in pictures. So all you have to do to add in a shape is click down on shape. Or again, you could use the tell me function and type in shape. But we'll do it this way. So we'll just click this square. So in order to scale your shapes, though, they function a little bit different from images in this respect, because in order for them to scale properly, you have to hold down Shift. So if I want this to be a perfect square, I'm going to click Shift on my keyboard, click here, and then drag, just so that it's proportional. And then once I do that, PowerPoint is automatically going to pull up all these options that I can use for the shape. So again, this is pretty similar. You have all of these functionalities in the side where you can customize it. And this is another way that you can insert an image. So once you've added in this square, maybe you want this to be a picture of something that you want to include. So all you have to do is, instead of having a solid fill, you'll click on picture or texture fill. And then you go over here, insert your picture source, And then I want to use this one. So I'll double click on that and it will enter in. But we'll delete that again. We'll go back to insert, shapes. So this is where you can change the color of the shape really quickly. And all of these colors that will be in this quick scroll are my theme colors to start with, and then the more muted theme colors that go below it. So maybe I want it to be this orange. And then here's also a quick access to your shape outline. So I want to add in my outline, but I want it to be red. And then if I wanted it to be bigger, I would go over here again with my shape options. And go to width. So I want it to be 6. And then this is exactly the same with icons, and icons are kind of a newer element, but I like them a lot. Just click on icons, and then this is really similar to when you're searching for a theme. So it gives you an option to search over here. So say that I want a camera, and then it'll give me some options. All I have to do is click on the one that I want and click insert. And then I could put it wherever on my screen. And I can do the same thing. Just click from here and then customize in format graphic. So that formatting element is really important to remember in terms of being able to customize these. And again, you can access it up here, or you can access it by double clicking on the shape. And as I just demonstrated, clicking on the outline of the shape. Okay. So another way that you can customize with color is by adding in gradients. And I think gradients always add a nice little design element to something. So I can go back to clicking on shapes. I want this to be maybe my background. So we'll do that right now. So I'm just going to click on shapes. I'll click on this square. And then I'm going to click it and drag it from one end to the next to fill the entire slide, and it will lock into place once I get it there. So you can kind of see it locks and then it locks again. And I just messed it up, so I just have to pull it over. So again, this is covering up your text, but for this situation, you want it to be your background. So while I have it up here in front of everything else, I can go to my shape fill, and I can just go to gradient or texture. I've never actually used the texture options, but you certainly can if you want to. And then I really do like the gradient option. So you can pick a preloaded one. These are pretty subtle. Or if you want to customize this as well, let me just scale this down. I'd go to more gradients, and it's going to do that same thing with the format shape, which again, I could have accessed up here by clicking on the shape or have it pop up here. And it gives me all these options to customize my gradient. So maybe in this one, I want it to be purple. And in this one, I want it to be red. And this is a circular gradient, but you can change that too by just going back to your gradient. And then I want it to be more of a linear gradient, so I just click on that one. I'll show you that again. This will show you all the different ways that the gradient is going to display itself. So this is on an angle, this is a circular gradient, a vertical gradient, and all these different types. So if I wanted it to be vertical, etc. And then let's say I'm happy with that and I want to use it as my background. So again, I'm going to right click on it and send it to back. So now it's my background. And then this is a really good opportunity too. If it's too bright, you think it's making your text too hard to read, you can just click on it again. And then go right here to transparency, 0%, meaning that it's not transparent, and then 100% would be that it's very transparent. So this, maybe I want to make it 50%. So I can drag it, I can change it here, or I can just type in 50%. Does that make sense? Okay. Okay, so before we continue on this, I'm going to show you guys how to use your slide master. Just by telling me in the chat, do you guys know what the slide master is? Okay. No, it's not the ruler. Okay. The slide master is probably the most helpful tool that you can have when you're creating, especially a blank presentation, but also when you're using your themes. So to access that, you're going to click on View, and then it'll be right here, Slide Master. So once you click on this, this is exactly what it sounds like. It's basically the ruler of all of your slides. And when you customize items on it, they will automatically populate in that way in your presentation. So it starts with a title slide, and then it has every single type of layout that you'll find in your PowerPoint. So I'm just quickly scrolling through to show you guys all the different types. So these correspond directly with when you click down to add a new slide, this is what it shows you. So for every single slide, I already know that I like one specific font, and I want to use that through my entire slideshow. I want it to automatically be there, and I want it to automatically be the color I want. And then maybe I want to have a little camera icon on every single slide. So in order to do that, you edit this really similarly to your normal PowerPoint, but this is just kind of the inner workings of how it's going to upload. So for example, I just click on this, I'm going to click the whole type, and then you can use all of these functionalities exactly like if you were on your main slide, but this will make your life a lot easier. So I'm going to go right back to home, and I know that I want this to be Century Gothic, and I want it to be this gray color. Same thing here, I'm just going to grab it and gray again. So same thing, you can already see it. Because I changed it on this first slide, that's the most important slide in the slide master, it automatically changes on every single slide. So you can see it's the same font, the same color. And it makes it so much easier when you're quickly adding things in, so you don't have to manually change every single text box throughout the entire presentation. So like I said, I also maybe want there to be a camera icon on every slide. So I'll just go to Insert, Icon, Camera, click on this camera here, insert it, and then I think I want it to be in my bottom left corner. So I'll just put it right there. And then as you can see, it added on every single slide here. So then you can just close out your slide master, and you'll see in here, it already added my little camera in, and the font is correct. And this isn't because it was a different text box at that time. So now when I go up here to add in new slides, they're already all going to be consistent. So if I want a section header, see it's the correct typeface, it's the correct color, and it has the camera on it. And while we are on that topic, I'll also show you guys how to insert page numbers. So here we'll go back to insert. Page numbers are in your header and footer. And then just click on slide number. It starts at 1. And you can see right here, it highlighted this bottom box, which signifies your page number, and apply to all. And then you can see it counts this as 1 and it counts that as 2. And if you don't want there to be a page number on your first slide, you just go back into header and footer, slide number, and it starts at 2. Apply to all. Oh, that did not work how I wanted it to. Or you should be able to just take that out. So say that you want it to start at 1, but this is 1 and this is not a number. You just click on this box and then delete it. And yes to the question about doing it with your logo, you can absolutely use your logo instead of an icon. I can quickly show you how to do that as well. So we're going to go back into our slide master and then go back to this first slide, delete the camera. We'll go to insert. I'll just throw my logo in there right now. Picture from file. Actually, we'll use, let's see. This is a bad example because it's an image, but you can just add in your logo down here. You can add anything you want. Like if you wanted it to be a picture of a dinosaur or whatever it may be, you have total control over what you add into the slide master. And this is also a place where you can change the colors again with your themes. So maybe I want it to be this red violet now. Maybe I decide in here, okay, I want to add this instead of having a blank slide, and it will again just automatically customize it. And when I close it, it's behind there. Okay, so does a slide master make sense to everybody? It's a really great tool. Not really, I'm seeing a not really. Do you have any, if you have any specific question about it, just throw it in the chat and I can address it for you right now. Okay. If you think of anything, or okay, how do I get to slide master again? Good question. So this PowerPoint right now looks a total mess, guys. I promise you I'm better at designing in real life, but okay, so say that you're on your home screen. Again, you're gonna go to view. You can also access it up here in your top bar. So I'll go to view. You could do master, slide master, or view, slide master right here. Yes, to that question about making it before anything else, typically, yes. You can really do it at any point. If you want to make your whole deck, it should update automatically. Like you could see when hold on, get rid of this. Just go to the, okay, there we go. So I'm going to go back here and edit everything again. And then I'm going to close this out. So these were already created, right? So if I hadn't made this the font that I wanted from the start, and it was Times New Roman or something like that, if I went into my slide master after and applied that, it to all of my slides. But yeah, if you already have an idea of how you want it to look, and you know kind of what you want to use, it is typically best to start with it just because it's so much faster to create it. And it's a really great tool that a lot of people don't know about, and it has saved me a lot of time. So I definitely recommend using that. Okay, I'm seeing a question about sending the photo to back. So let me see. I actually have never sent it to back without right-clicking it, but I am sure that there's a way to do it. Let me try to bring it back to the front. I bet I can do it from picture format. Let's see. Okay, I'll come back to that one at the end just so I don't spend a whole lot of time on it. I want to make sure we get through everything. Okay, so we'll go right back to here. I'm just going to delete that for now. I'll actually show you. Let's see. Go back to Slide Master. Make these gray. Close my Slide Master out. And then as you can see, I know that's a really subtle difference, but this was black. And then when I went into my Slide Master and I changed it gray, you can see that it automatically changed it, even though this was an existing text box. Okay, someone just told me that they saw it in picture format, and it is, there it is, reorder objects. Oh, and you can just do it like that. Thank you, Eric. All right, so I'm going to start moving towards some of the more, not necessarily technical aspects, but something that can really add a lot of flavor to your design. How many of you guys know how to add a video directly into your PowerPoint? Anybody? Okay, but this is a really great feature, especially if you're trying to insert your reel or something like that. It's really convenient to just have it right in there. You can click right into it and it'll play in your show. And yes, that's another good point that Eric just made. Right clicking on a Mac, you hold down Control and then click, and it gives you those options if you can't find it. On a PC, it's just a regular right click, but that Control option is important. So Control click, and that'll give you your right click options on a Mac. Okay, so we're gonna go back to Insert. And then you'll notice over here, there's this video option. Again, it'll be up here. It's always in both the top bar and this bar. So you click down on video, and then I want to use a YouTube link. So say that I have my reel uploaded on YouTube and I want to add it in here. I'll click online movie, and then I'm going to go to YouTube kittens. And this is a cute kitten, so we'll use him. And all you have to do, this is super easy. You're just gonna take your link up here, copy it, go back, and then paste it. Insert. And your adorable kitten video is right there. You can make it bigger or smaller. You can move it anywhere you want. and then it'll play for you just by clicking on that play button. And there it is. If there isn't a link, that's a good question. You can use these other options. So it would be movie from file. So if it was on your desktop, just click movie from file. I don't have any videos personally, but if I had a file that was already on here, I could just go ahead and insert it from my desktop, and that will also work. So with your website, what you would need to do if it's on a website is you'd have to link specifically from the website. If you have the video like on a page, or I'd advise if it's on your website, use the native file from your computer or upload it to YouTube, because that's a much easier way to do it. I think if you just put in your website address, it won't function correctly. So you'll need to have the actual video file, again, either by adding it to your own YouTube or uploading it natively from your computer. And yes, you could do the same thing with the GIF because it's a similar file type, so that should work as well. All right. Let's see. Just making sure I covered all my notes here, guys. 1 second. Okay. So next, I'm going to show you guys more about transitions and animations. I'm going to just add some random stuff in here. Actually, while we're on this as well, these text boxes are really customizable too. In order to rotate them, it won't work on these like it might in another program. You have to click on this arrow, and then you can put it however you want. You can expand it so that you have more room to type. If you need more room right below it, all you have to do is click enter, and the text box is going to scale for you. So I'm going to redo that again, adding in my text box here, or adding in my text box here. Okay, so transitions and animations, these are really straightforward too. You can get a little bit more detailed. Yes, Marcy, the video will work. If you're doing it virtually over Zoom or something, you are gonna have to make sure that your audio is shared, but the video will autoplay. And I'll show you that again in a couple of minutes. So these transitions control how your slide is going to move from one slide to the next slide. So say this one I wanted to push upward, and then this one I want to split. So when it goes from this slide to this slide, it will have that transition. Again, you can do this apply to all, and this is another feature that you can edit in your slide master. So if you already knew that you wanted a specific animation on every single slide, you'll be able to do that in your slide master as well. So if you want to get really detailed, you can have it, you can use this section over here. So you could have it trigger on your mouse click, or if you unclick it, it will trigger when you're just going through the presentation by tabbing. I'll do it on mouse click. You can change how long it takes if you want it to be 2.5 seconds or 1 second. And you can customize that. Maybe you don't want the transition to happen right away. You want it to happen after 2 seconds. You can also adjust that. So that applies again. The transitions are to the slides themselves. And your animations are to your text boxes. So I'm going to click on my text box, and I want it to fly in, and I want it to pulse. So now it would fly in and it would pulse. And another kind of interesting feature that PowerPoint has is it shows you on the side here how many transitions and animations you have applied to a certain slide. So it's this little star here. So if you're going through your presentation, you can't remember if you've added an animation or a transition to it, it'll show you right here, and that makes it a lot quicker. And you can do the same exact thing with the transitions by customizing them over here and letting you know when you want it to trigger. So I'm gonna just quickly add a video in here again. Let's see. I'm gonna go back to insert, video, online movie. And we've got our cats back. Okay. All right, so this is a very short presentation here. Do cats again. I'll just add some more in here. And again, this is all different layouts that are super easy to add in here. And another thing while we're in here is say that you want, you know, on your next slide, you're gonna want it to look exactly like this slide, but maybe you'll just change the title. You can right click on it and click duplicate slide, or when you go down here, you can click duplicate slide right here. And then I want to change this one to photography or something like that. So that's helpful because it gives you the exact same, like everything's aligned, and it's just a nice way to keep everything consistent. So say this is my completed slideshow. I definitely would not recommend presenting this to anyone, but in order to present it, you're gonna go to slideshow, either here or here. And then I can either play it from the start or I can play it from a different slide in the PowerPoint. So in this case, I'm gonna play it from the start. See my slide up happen there. And then I can either click to send it to the next slide, or you can use the arrow keys. I typically use the arrow keys for everything, but I'm gonna click for these purposes, and then another transition to my next one. Click again, my text came in animated, and just you can keep on clicking through. And as you can see too, that when I duplicated this slide, it applied the same exact animations and the same exact transitions. And I can go back if I want to, forward. And then to get out of it, just click escape and it'll take you back to your PowerPoint. And then maybe I want to start it on the kitten video. I just click play from current slide and I don't have to scroll through anything else. And there's our little screaming kitten again. I can just click on it again to pause it and escape. And another really great feature is you can rehearse with it and it times you, or you can record it. So if you're presenting and you want to have a copy of your presentation, just click on record and it automatically starts recording. You can end your show. And then if you want to save it, you can save it. And if you don't have to. Okay, how can we change the order of the slides? That's also really easy. All you have to do is drag it. And you'll see that little bar shows up. And that bar indicates that it's going to show up above the previous slide or below it if the bar is below it. Does that make sense? Yes, okay, great. And then another good feature here too is you can add presenter notes. So if I wanted to make sure that I talked about. In this situation, you couldn't hear the kitten crying because when I shared my screen on Zoom, I didn't share the audio. So that's why you wouldn't hear it on your end, but that's just because of how I shared it. So if you were playing it yourself in a room with other people or you sent it to them, the audio should play. Okay. So you can add these notes in and you can hide them. So if you know that there's something specific that right before you're showing this, you want to make sure you remember, just click down on your notes. And when you're presenting it, they can't see it. So it really doesn't matter if you close it out. But if you want to, just for aesthetic purposes, you can. Yes, when you record the slideshow, it will record your audio as well. Okay, now I'm going to show you guys how to save out your PowerPoints. And then I know that Dropbox was a question too about how to upload them to Dropbox and then share them. So there are a couple of different ways that you can save your PowerPoint. In all situations, you're going to go to File, and then you can either just save it as its current state. You can click Save As, and just like this is the same thing with Word documents and everything in Microsoft Office, you can save it as all different types of presentations. You typically will not need to do this, but if you change it to this .potx, that sends it as a template, and it makes it so that whoever you're sending it to could edit it if they need it to. Sometimes when you change or when you save it as only a PPT, it becomes a read-only file and they won't be able to edit it, which in most cases you probably want. And then you can also export it as a PDF. So another way you can export it as a PDF is I think it will depend on whether or not you have Adobe Acrobat installed on your computer. But if you click on Acrobat, you can just create a PDF really easily. So this one we want to save it as a PPT on my desktop. Save. Close it out so we can just make sure that we're going to open it again properly. Just double click on it and it should open right back up. Okay, so now we are ready. We want to share this with the world. We're going to go to Dropbox. How many of you have Dropbox? Most of you? Okay. Awesome. I love to hear it. And I can show you guys another way to do this as well. If you don't have Dropbox, all you need to do, if many of you have it, you already know this. Diane, if you edit it, or if you turn it into a PDF, can you edit it? It depends. If you have the best level of Adobe Acrobat, you can edit it. But if you turn it into a PDF, no, it will not be an editable document for the most part. So I would say if you're going to send that, just assume that you're not going to make changes to it, but also make sure you save it as a PowerPoint file so that if you need to make changes, you can go in and do that. Okay. So here with Dropbox, you guys know you can just drag stuff in, or you can upload it as a file. So we'll upload that. I'm gonna view my details here, right? And there it is. To make a link, just share it. You can either share it with, or you can share it as an editable link or a viewing link, which in this case you probably, and yes, Google Drive and iCloud do function the same way. I was going to show you guys how to do it on Google Drive if you also want to know that, but if you don't, we don't have to cover it too. So here you can either send it as just a viewing link or as an editing link. You can add in someone's email that you want to directly email it to, or you can just copy the link here and then paste it to whoever you're sending it to. So you just go to, a new email, and then paste the link right in there. And yep, you can also use WeTransfer. I love using WeTransfer. It's a great tool and free. PowerPoint to Keynote. I would say I've mostly used PowerPoint, even though I work on a Mac, but I would say typically I use PowerPoint just because it's compatible with more people's computers, because what happens sometimes on the Mac is it can distort the file and it'll send it like with the sizing wrong or the font wrong or something like that, which is also a reason that sending it as a PDF can be a good idea. But if you don't want to use Microsoft, I'd also highly recommend using Google Slides, because it functions almost exactly the same as PowerPoint, if not a little bit better. And it's all online. It's super easy to send. It's super easy to present. That's also a really great tool to use, and it's also free. So. All right, great. So it seems like you guys all have a pretty good idea of your sharing functionalities and options. Just let me know if you have any other questions about that. And then now I think I'm going to just open it up to questions, because I do know I moved pretty quickly. I just wanted to make sure I got all the content in and then gave you an opportunity to ask me questions. This is also being recorded, so Ivy will have that for you guys if you ever want to go back and look at anything that we covered today. So if you have any other specific questions, you can throw them in the chat right now, and I'm going to scroll up and answer some of the earlier questions. Okay, can I change a single color within a theme? So for that question, let's see, are you referring to wanting to change just one of these colors, or all of the colors, just the one color, I think? That's whose question was that? Let's see. Zelda. Stretch this out. Okay. I'll go with, say you're wanting to just change a single color. I wouldn't change any of these specifically, but that's an opportunity for you to use this more colors option, where you can add in a specific color that you want to use. So if the theme is great otherwise, but you want one random color, that's when you can go in here and you can add something, use your hex code, and then that'll be in your recent colors. So that's how I would recommend just changing one color or adding in one single color. Let me see. There was another question, where do you click to show options for various themes? That's, again, you can do that in design. This will show you all the themes. You can click down, more themes, and then that awesome browse functionality that you can pull a theme that you downloaded. And this is, again, where you can change all your theme colors and customize them. We got that. Back here. Okay, so question about where is the ruler function? Are you referring to this here when these pop up? I'll assume yes. They should pop up automatically, but they may, yes, they may not show up in some of the older versions of PowerPoint. You should be able to update all of your Microsoft Office tools right in the software, which should give you the latest version to have those included. Or you can go into View and click Ruler and Guides, and this will pop them up right here in your PowerPoint so that you can measure things here, and you can use this as a center guide. Okay, so if your new version doesn't have it, did you see what I just showed you here with the rulers and guides in your View section? Okay, great. And yep, Eric, you're right. You can show them right there. Same thing with the guides. Any other questions? Diane, did you have a question? Okay, so that's a good question, and it can also get, can you bleed the edges of an image? Do you mean like over the edge of the PowerPoint? Because yes, if you want this to be bigger, but you don't want it to show in your actual presentation, it won't. It will still crop it the same way. So I've got too much going on my screen right now. Sorry, guys. So I've pulled this well over the edges of the slide, but if you click on play from start, it'll crop where the end of the slide ends. That you can cut out. So no, it is a little bit more limited than Photoshop, definitely. But you can do this crop to shape thing that I showed earlier. So we'll go back and I'll just show that to you one more time, and just to see if that's what you're asking, Diane. So I'm gonna go ahead and add in picture from file again. Scale it down. And then go crop to shape, square, and it doesn't exactly cut it out. Okay, Diane, great. Awesome. So yeah, you can just use this, or you can go into your picture format. And then something I will show you guys really quickly too is if you just want to crop an image directly, you can just click on crop, and then the only main thing to note is to use these edges and not these edges, because that will just make this picture bigger. But if you use these black edges, that's where it'll scale down the crop. Like that, and then you can just either click out or enter. Okay, so Zelda, you're asking how to not have that white border when you go to print it? Okay, so this depends on your settings a little bit too. So let's go to print. Actually, you're gonna wanna do that in your page setup. So I'm sorry, go to File, Page Setup, right above Print. And then you can adjust your borders and everything like that. So this will give you all different types of options for the printing format. And I would go with custom, and then I think 8.5 by 11, if you type in here in custom, should work. Or we can go to, let's see, print. Scale to fit paper. Sometimes I know that still adds the white border. Printers can be really finicky, and sometimes it depends on the printer that you're using. And it should give you an option. A fill page, yeah. You can also scale it right here. If you unclick scale to fit, you could make it like 40% or something like that, so it gets smaller. Let's see if we did, oh, not 4,000%, 120%, but that's still showing me the border. Let me see. To be honest, I don't print a lot of things anymore, but let's see. Zelda and Diane, do you guys want to send me your email and I can email you the info after? I don't have the exact answer for that right now, but I can definitely find it for you. So just send that my way. And anybody else, if you have any questions, I'm going to add my email in the chat right now, just so you guys have it, and feel free to reach out about any questions. If you have them while you're building out your PowerPoint, I can definitely help you. All right, guys, any other questions? You're all great students. Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it. I'm sorry if I went a little fast. All right, Zelda and Diane, I have your emails, and then I threw mine in there too. So if anybody else has any questions, definitely reach out at any point. And I really appreciate you guys coming today and giving me a chance to flex my PowerPoint skills.
Thanks, Kelly. And again, if you guys have any questions or something happens tomorrow, let me know. I can send them to Kelly via our email as well. So.